How many of you guys use Amazon? How many of you see the delivery trucks going through? How many of you shop every single week on Amazon? Let me know in the comments. But today we're going to talk about Amazon and its trillion-dollar business, specifically $1.82 trillion. And Jeff Bezos, who's the founder, and he was told that this idea by his boss sounded great for someone who didn't have a great job already. But Jeff decided to follow his heart and his dream and ended up starting Amazon, that started as a bookstore and turned into this global powerhouse and is the everything store. So let's go to talk about the history of Amazon if you're interested, and then some of the business numbers and the facts and the figures behind it. Let's do it. All right, so even though Amazon is a $1.82 trillion business and it has over 1 million employees, specifically 1,608,000 employees around the world, it started with just Jeff Bezos and an idea. And so it began in 1994 as an online bookstore, but it has expanded, as you know, to selling multiple products, and it's known as the Everything Store. And there's even a book on this as well. Amazon has completely changed how we consume media, how we buy things, and all the operations. Like, it makes sense that there's millions of employees because of how many delivery drivers are needed, how many products and opportunities are out there. And so it's incredible, and it has really been a huge groundbreaking and life-breaking and disruptor in this world. Amazon is currently the biggest internet-based business in the world. And Jeff Bezos, when he started, he knew he needed to grow fast and big, which clearly he did. And so he actually had this flywheel effect, which some people talk about. I'll put an image up here. And so you want to get that flywheel turning. This kind of unlocks compound interest. And so he really started getting this flywheel working and eventually turned into this powerhouse. Amazon was first incorporated in 2005, and it was originally called Cadabra, so like abracadabra, but Bezos's lawyer advised that it sounded too similar and kind of weird with magic. And then also a lot of people thought it was cadaver over the phone. And so we do not want to have cadaver over the phone. And so instead it became Amazon. Actually couldn't decide at first, and so they just registered different domain names. His wife at the time, Mackenzie Tuttle, they registered, it was awake.com, browse.com, bookmail.com, and then relentless.com. And so to this day, if you type in relentless.com, it'll navigate you to Amazon. Okay, so how did they eventually land on Amazon? It was interesting because he was looking through the dictionary, Bezos was, and he eventually saw Amazon, and then he just clicked with it, and he thought, I really want this business to be the biggest in the world, and the Amazon rainforest is one of the biggest rainforests in the world, so it fits. That's how he discovered it. It's interesting too, because you don't want to spend so much time worrying about these small details and stuff, but maybe you do to some degree, because Sarah Blakely with Spanx, she was going to call Spanx open-toed Delilah's, and she's like, I don't know if I would have been there and been here right now and built $1 billion business if I went with that. And so Bezos too, the name Amazon, interesting. What if it was called Replicon, or it might not have stuck. Interesting. So what's interesting is, even though Jeff Bezos wanted to build this huge company, he didn't know what he wanted to sell. And so they ended up deciding on books because they were pretty easy to source, package, and distribute. So they started with books, and then as we know, they ended up going into more products, or everything, known as the Everything Store. The key here was the strategy. So Jeff Bezos knew about this strategy. It was still pretty early on. He wasn't the first person to try it. Actually, another company called Computer Literacy, a Silicon Valley bookstore, had started this. And it was sold as early as 1991. But what Jeff Bezos wanted to do was to ship it faster and make it more convenient. So that was part of his goal. So even right now we have 1 day, 2 day shipping, very quick deliveries. That was initially part of his plan. He knew that this business idea and getting on the internet could be a huge game changer for the world and for his life and for people. And so he wanted to do that, but then he knew, how do we do that? He had to get faster. So what do people want? People wanted books online. They could just order online. But would you rather order from someone that takes 2 weeks, or would you rather order from someone that's the same price that takes a couple days? And so if you were the consumer, and we are now, I'd probably pick the 2 days that has the exact same product. And so when you're coming up with business ideas, think about that. Think about, how can you make it easier? How can you make it just a little bit better, where the customer will want to go to you instead of someone else? So even though you guys think it might be about the products, it wasn't about, let me sell books, let me sell these things. It was about simplifying the online transaction experience for the customer. So when did Amazon start selling things other than books? So after following Bezos's initial business plan, that he was going to sell computer games in 1998. So they also sold computer games. They also ended up going internationally with the UK and Germany. And so they expanded internationally and had those international bookstores. And so that might sound like easy, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes and production and shipping and things of that nature. And so that was more complicated and a good step in the right direction. He also ended up, in the turn of the millennium, he ended up getting into sellers selling electronics, video games, software, home improvement items, things of that nature. Eventually, in the mid-2000s, Amazon launched AWS, or Amazon Web Services. And so this went in line with Jeff Bezos' original intention of making it a tech company instead of just an online retailer exclusively. Eventually, they had different digital storage devices. They had the elastic computer cloud, simple storage devices, etc. And Amazon began exploding. 2007, you guys might be aware, that's when they started the Kindle e-readers. And so it's interesting because it definitely aligns with Jeff Bezos' original plan, but what he just originally started selling. So they started selling books, but then they had the e-readers and those other options that were unlocked. By 2012, the Kindle had 50% of the market share and were responsible for 50% of the sales for different ebooks around the world. And eventually in 2011, they expanded even more and they had grocery options, fresh produce, drone delivery, and many more innovations. Super cool. So like most successful people, successful businesses, things like that, there's a ton of obstacles. And so we could list out all those obstacles, but there were also a lot of naysayers, negativity, people who didn't believe. But Jeff Bezos kept his vision and kept his belief, which is critical for success. If you guys have any goals that you want to achieve, you have to keep your vision and believe enough in yourself and your product to keep going. And so he kept going. They weren't profitable until 2001, which didn't help his case, but eventually he stuck with his get big fast. By December 1996, the company's customer base had grown to 180,000 people. By October of that same year, the figure had leaped to around 1 million registered accounts, and then revenues had reached $148 million in 1997, which was a significant jump again to 16 million in 1996. 1997, Amazon decided to go public and they became an even bigger company. They raised $54 million on the NASDAQ exchange. And in addition to the cash, the company could use its stock sales to gain more aggressive growth and to have a stronger acquisition strategy. By 1998, Amazon actually had reached an impressive $600 million. Amazing. In 1999, Jeff Bezos was Time's Person of the Year. I'm proud of his grit and his resilience and his focus and his vision. I think that's so important, especially for a leader and someone who wants to do big things. You have to be able to manage the hard emotions. You have to be able to have that strong vision and belief and keep going and persisting until you figure it out. Did he figure it out at first? No. Did he figure it out the second time? No. But he kept going, kept believing, and knew that he'd keep his vision, but then figure out how to get there and make adjustments till he did. Around this time, Amazon also ended up opening up an affiliate program, which was a win-win situation. And that's another business tip, is to find win-win situations. And so if you have an affiliate program, you would market and say, I made a page that's my Amazon favorites. I'm thinking of doing that eventually. And so like, this is my favorite finance book or my top 5 finance books. And they're through Amazon. And then if someone goes and purchases it, you get a percentage of the commission, and then Amazon gets it and they get more customers than they would have. And so it's a win-win situation. This was really great for people. And back in the day, you used to make a bigger chunk of money from Amazon affiliates and from the program. It's a little bit less now, but still it's a nice kickback and reward, especially for such a big company. Amazon is continuing on today. And as you guys know, it's $1 trillion company and it hires and employs millions of people worldwide, almost 2 million people. And so I'm really proud and grateful for Jeff Bezos and his vision and how he stuck with it. And so it's very interesting. It's exciting to see where Amazon is going to go, but also the main reason why it was so successful is not only that he stuck with his idea and that he got in early. Part of this as well is spotting these trends and being able to see and get in early. Like even some of these content creators, they started early and there weren't any financial creators, or on TikTok or something. That's how Humphrey Yang kind of got started. And then he posted every day and it just was exploding because there wasn't any of this information on something like TikTok. And so getting in early, how can you get in early to something and then provide your unique value, which is interesting. But it's so amazing. We can order something from the comfort of our own home. Some people are happy about that. Some people are like, that is horrible and that's ruining society, and that's totally everyone's own opinion. But I think it's pretty cool and it's amazing what an idea and a dream can do. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video on Amazon, this powerhouse, Jeff Bezos. Let me know in the comments below if you want any more videos like this. I have more on my channel about Taylor Swift, about so many different things. I really enjoy doing videos like this. I'm thinking of doing a Target versus Walmart next, or why McDonald's is not a fast food company. It's a real estate company. Same thing with Starbucks. Let me know if you're interested in those, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. You got this.